At 1421 Ridgely Street in the infamous South Baltimore Brewery District, you will find Checker Spot Brewery. Located within walking distance from M&T Bank Stadium and the legendary Camden Yards, Checker Spot is the place for pre- and post-game party. Sporting a fun bar-style menu and their own signature Baltimore brews, live events, and nightly fun, come grab your spot and don't miss out. Checker Spot Brewery, it's the spot.
Welcome, Baltimore. Another episode, Sanity Lounge. We have Marcus Dagan in. We first met Marcus about 2 months ago back at the Green Church in Mount Vernon for, you can check out our Elizabeth Bonner episode if you want to learn more about that church.
Great episode.
He performed with Elizabeth's daughter Mariah and Clayton Bryant for their holiday party, which was wonderful. Marcus is a keyboard connoisseur, a composer, songwriter, music director, and I've discovered a photographer based on his website. So, like I said, we only met him a short time ago, so we have a lot to go into, and he just dazzled us with 5 songs, and
Beautiful.
We're going to go into each of those songs because there's stories behind each of them that I've recently heard about.
Yeah, and let me just, before you say stuff, when we saw you perform with Mariah
Bonner.
Yeah, I don't know why. Moira is what I want to say.
Nobody wonders about that anymore with you.
It's me. It's a me problem. But when I saw you perform with Mariah, I was mesmerized. It was beautiful. It felt genuine. And you played a song that night called Baltimore, You Are the Harbor. And it takes my breath away. Mm-hmm. Like, it makes me emotional, that song. And I don't know why, but it's a really beautiful song.
Yeah.
And it spoke to me. And so I wanted to get you in. Like, I immediately went up to you and was like, I want to get you on the show. We, of course, are going to get Miss Mariah on the show and everything like that next week, I think.
Next month.
Next month.
So, welcome.
Yes.
Welcome. Good to be here.
Welcome to the lounge.
It was wonderful.
I'm lounging.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah,
Awesome.
So, Mr. Marcus, we're going to start at the beginning here. You, as we can tell, are an older gentleman, right?
Sure.
So, you've been
75 plus shipping and handling.
Nice. You look great, Ben. But you've been in this game a long time. Is the piano your only instrument? Are you a lifer?
Yeah. I started with the piano. I was about 4 because my father was a musician. Mm-hmm. And he sat me at the piano to see if I had any aptitude for it. And I did. And gradually I got a music teacher. And I spent my childhood from being about 6 to 17 behind the piano. Mm-hmm. I'd go home after school, forget the homework, and do the piano.
Now, was it classical?
Always.
Okay, so
yeah.
And now, was that installed by the old man, or was that speaking to you?
Yeah, both.
I got you.
And he was really short, and but he played the accordion, and he could do like Poet and Peasant Overture on this accordion with the buttons and like mesmerizing. But at one point, there was like, is this by rote or is this natural? Because I was adopted, so it wasn't a blood thing. So I thought, you know what? I really love this. And I went to the Royal College of Music in London for 6 months, got a diploma.
Wow.
I never wanted to see a piano again. One of the pieces I did was Rhapsody in Blue.
What year are we talking? Like,
I'm 17,
so at that point you were like, I'm sick of the piano.
No, I just spent so much time, and I spent that summer learning Rhapsody in Blue. 48 pages, and I had to do every line by line, whatever, put it together.
Now, for the layman, Rhapsody in Blue is a challenging piece written by
George Gershwin.
Everything.
Right.
And the guy who was the examiner said, you played a couple of wrong notes in that. I said, who could tell? That improvised part.
Right.
But I saw it recently at the Baltimore Symphony. and it was just mesmerizing again. And there's a part, da, 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 and no matter where and how many times I hear it, I have tears.
I love that.
There's something about those. I mean, they're simple.
The notes. Yeah,
Right.
it's something about certain notes when they hit you.
Yeah.
It
There's
just...
another song that the world lost Chris Rea in December, and he has a song that people don't talk about. It's called "Tell Me There's a Heaven," and I got a cassette of that song. I put it in my car. I was actually driving to Baltimore, and the arrangement, and I pulled over on the turnpike,
Right.
and because I couldn't see, I'm crying my
You
eyes
got
out 'cause it was-
overwhelmed, yeah.
So, of course, state trooper. What's the problem? I said, my daughter sent me this song, and it's just...
It's hit me.
It's hit me, and I can't see. He said, oh, yeah, right. So I rewound it, and there's a state trooper, 6'3".
Holy shit. Look,
Cheers.
I have to say, if he ends up crying, that's
Yep.
the greatest story I've ever heard.
And he let me go.
That's wonderful, yeah.
And I got to Baltimore, and this was way back, and I was playing at Danny's on Charles Street, and there was a Russian who had just arrived from Glasnost, let my people go.
Right. What
And
year are we talking? I mean,
they all blend.
give me a decade or roughly.
You said you discovered Baltimore in '82. So
Yeah.
was it before that?
No, he's
After
way
that,
after.
yeah.
Probably
Okay.
toward the end of the 80s.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he wrote, he said, I can write music. And I said, don't lose this cassette. It's the only one I got.
Right.
And the day after, he brought me a chart, which I still have, of Tell Me There's a Heaven. And I've done it in various places, but it's an amazing piece. I have it on my YouTube channel, and it's got one of the most, a lot of hits.
You're right, like the most viewed
I don't
or
know,
something.
like 4,000 or something.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful.
So do you remember, like you said, you went 6 months, got a diploma, then you said you never wanted to see a piano again. So do you remember the moment where that changed and you were like, this is what I'm going to do?
Not what I'm going to do. Shortly after I went to Israel, and a long story, but I ended up, for various reasons, in the IDF because I had to, because I'd been there. And about 6 months into that, I went to Nairobi on one of those Hercules transports.
Wow.
They said, "Oh, we're going to Nairobi. Want to go?" I said, "Oh, it's Africa. I've never been." So like 42
As
hours.
one does. You know.
And everybody went off, and I had a girlfriend in Israel, and they went off chasing the local ladies.
Now, what you're talking about, is this the 80s in Israel, or what would...
It's the 70s. It was actually 69.
Okay.
And so the old hotel, it was a colonial hotel, and they had a beat-up piano. And rather than go out on the town, I just had a couple of warm beers, and so, the piano, yeah. I'll put it aside for now. And it was several years before it actually happened. And so I was living in Amsterdam, and the place next door to where I lived, well, the last place I lived, was called Jerusalem of Gold. It was a little nightclub. And they had Greek singers, and they had Israeli singers, and they had various people, and they had a piano. So the 74, I thought, I'm going to give this a shot for about 2 or 3 years. So I would go into Jerusalem of Gold in the afternoon and try a few, and I was writing stuff. And Modke, who was the owner, long gone, I'll ever show him, he said, yeah, come sing, it'd be great. So I like certain things where there's a tradition or whatever, but it was like January 2nd was an optimum starting point, and that was in 1975.
Wow.
And I have never stopped.
January
That's
2nd,
awesome.
1975. Yeah. So you hung in Amsterdam. I mean, what? How did you make money? Were you a student, or were you?
No, I worked for a corporation initially.
But not music.
Nope.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that, well, that was the pivot to put to music was meeting Jim Croce.
Okay.
So I'm doing marketing for this
In the 70s?
club.
I love Jim Croce. God rest his
Well,
soul.
he got a call from the record company, and they said, "We got this American singer. Can we use the club in Fort Wallet on a Sunday night? absolutely. It's Jim Croce.
Right.
And a bass player. So he did the show. It was great. We filmed it on the security cams.
Right.
And he was staying at a hotel in the Prinsengracht. And I said, well, I know where that is. I'll finish the show. Said,
And this is Amsterdam or Jerusalem?
No, it's Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, okay.
So this is 73. So like it's late August, maybe. Wow.
And you're in your, like, doing the math here. You're in your, like, your early 20s.
Yeah.
And experiencing this.
Right. So I walk him back to the hotel. There's a bar. I said, well, let's have a nightcap. And they had a piano. And I said, this is chutzpah, but, I'm thinking about, I've written some songs. And this is one. So one was called Roads, which we'll talk about.
Wow.
So he said, I love that. He said, when I get back to the States, I think if I can, I'll record that. I said, feel free. So
now, was Jim Croce at this time?
Yeah.
Like you knew him?
He was
you
just
were
beginning to break out here.
Yeah,
and
nice.
It was his first European tour.
Wow.
So I heard, I have to tell you I love you in a song, I think it was,
Right.
which he just written. So that was, and then I played him another song. He says, I don't know what you're thinking, but I have no idea what that was.
Wow.
And then I played another one that was in a work in progress. And he said, I like that. He said, you know what, just get out there and sing. And I said, yeah, I got a terrible voice. I just write, He said, no, do it. He said, we all start out with bad voices. 3 weeks later, he takes that fatal plane crash.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa, okay.
That's one of those what could have beens of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was like, all right, well, the song's got merit.
That's an
It took me
amazing
until
experience.
For 2001 to record it.
So
That's amazing.
So while we're on that song, so the first song you played was a song called Roads,
That's the
the
song.
Prophecy?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the song that you're talking
Yeah.
about with Croce.
Yeah.
Now that's the first song you ever wrote?
I wrote lyrics for a song my dad wrote, which were terrible. Moon, June, Away Day, whatever. But
and that's the song he wanted to record.
yeah, Roads.
So he wanted to record one of your songs.
Right.
He didn't like one of your songs, and then he liked one of your songs.
said,
That's a
keep
hell of a
working on that
compliment.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which that one was
pretty-
called
pretty amazing.
Something More, which I haven't played in a long time. But the idea was there. So I was working doing marketing. I was in London. I was in Amsterdam and lived there for 6 months. And I was there in September of 73. And I'm in synagogue, Portuguese, beautiful synagogue. And the rabbi stopped the service and said, we're at war. We've been invaded.
Wow.
So people on active duty were left immediately. And I wasn't active. I was way back in the reserves. But I left Amsterdam that night at 11 at night. And I never forget, there was a 747, one piece of hand luggage, that's it. And we came into Ben Gurion Airport. It wasn't called Ben Gurion then, but a 747, 50 feet above the waves.
Wow.
Wow.
Up, down,
Wow.
land. Because the Egyptians were bombing close by.
Right,
So-
right.
And I was wearing jeans, sneakers, and
And could you hear the bombs and shit going off? Was it like that yet?
yeah,
Or
that was further away.
Okay.
But they sent me up to the Golan Heights, and it's freezing. It's like, it's got a sweater
Right? He said, this is bullshit.
and shoes, maybe boots.
Right.
But anyway, that's
Wow. So, Marcus, you're
That was an experience.
a global guy here,
Yeah.
it
Right.
appears.
Well, I'm doing that Substack thing, and I've just gotten to the end of 75, and there's a lot of years to fill in and a lot of stuff to fill in. But there's Bermuda was for 6 months, and then New York for a year and a half, and then Tokyo, and then Hawaii, and
Okay, so
Yeah.
so slow down here. This is what we're going to do.
yeah,
Right.
So,
which is kind of leads. I mean, Roads. the prophecy.
Right.
I mean, I did all that traveling.
Now let me ask
Yeah.
you this, and we just met. I don't know you very well, but you seem to be a spiritual cat of some sort. Like, are you religious overtly? We don't judge here, but we bring it up because we like to talk about music and how it moves
music
people.
is spiritual.
Okay.
And the fact of finding a lyric or a melody out of nowhere, and it's a
ether.
gift.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in a moment. But when we get to another song.
Sure.
But if I have a God, it's the universe, as I call it, and angels. That's it.
I'm 100% on board with that.
That's how
That's the way I feel.
Well, it's like, religion, it's caused so many problems to have an ism or an is.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I'm Jewish, but it's like, I go to temple very rarely. But
Right.
It's repetitive, it's brainwashing, and it's like, Adonai Eloheinu, I know this already.
Right. It's ritual at a certain
Well, a joke
point,
I used to tell was I talked to God yesterday, she's black and she's pissed.
Right. Well, what's so funny? Listen, real quick tangent. South Park. You can think what you want about them, but one of the most brilliant episodes they ever did was that it was like all religions, and they were trying to figure out which one was right. And so everybody gets killed. The long and short of it is all these people die and everybody's in hell, and it's Satan, and there's Christians and Jews and Muslims, and they're all in hell, and they're down there and they go, well, wait a second, who the hell was right? And Satan looks at the clipboard and he's like, the Mormons. And they were like, what? They were like, damn, the damn Mormons were the one. But I thought that was brilliant, just because everybody thinks they're right, and at the end of the day, we'll find out, I guess, and it probably won't be who anyone thinks.
That's right. Well, they say if you pass on and you see the light, you've already been reincarnated as a moth.
Interesting. That's funny. I love that. So,
I used to, I have this thing about reincarnation. I think it was started obliquely by my mother when she said that she had a fear of lakes because of previous life. She said, in a previous life, my husband drowned me in a lake. I was like, maybe 10, but I got a vault.
No follow-up? I'd be like, wait, what?
Right. But that's, it's always been a recurring thing. And because life is energy, so energy doesn't die. It just transfers, as I like to say, to another realm.
Right.
So my spirituality revolves totally around that. And as you've heard the CD, there's a couple of songs about that on there.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You told us a very cool story. Okay, so the song I'm going to go in order. So
Roads.
Yeah, Roads was the first one. Baltimore, You Are My Harbor was the second song. Now, I already mentioned that at the beginning.
Right.
But
did we go through Roads, the prophecy? Because you did mention that the prophecy came true. What was the prophecy?
All the traveling.
Just the traveling.
Yeah, and then now I'm tired of traveling. It's not really true, to be honest. I mean, there was a point.
Okay.
But not when I wrote it. I mean, there's been times I was like, oh, what am I doing? But all these different journeys. I mean, I just went to Portugal on a whim because it was like, I haven't been there. I've been to Portugal, but not to this town. And I figured it's in the 60s. It's January. So, Tavira.
That's
what
you do.
Absolutely.
I got on a few planes and experienced it.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, that's one of those things that, if you can, you should. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because
what was the cost of a plane ticket back then to Portugal?
Back then?
This is just a few weeks ago.
Oh, a few weeks ago you just went to Portugal.
I got I used points on JetBlue and Delta.
Right.
My Delta flight from Boston to London was $5.35.
Holy shit.
I upgraded.
That's why you travel. I mean, anybody would do it.
I eat out a lot so I can get those points.
Right.
But, it was like I went from here to Boston to London, London to Lisbon. And I don't sleep on planes, so this is like I'm already 18, 19 hours.
Wow.
So I thought, when I'm booking this, there's a train from Lisbon to Faro. So that's 3.5 hours. I'll sleep on the train. And I did.
And you can sleep
Right.
on a train, but you can't sleep on a plane.
There's
Wow.
no room for my legs. So,
Yeah,
you know.
That's
I'm
amazing.
kind of the same way.
But
no matter
the
what.
train was great. I mean, $35 first class for a 3-hour train
Right.
ride.
Well,
In
It's
Portugal.
amazing.
while we hang on Roads to Prophecy, you mentioned Rome and stuff like that in that song. Like lyrically, what I mean, you
ROAM.
Rome.
R-O-A-M. Interesting. Okay. Well, because that's the thing is, I thought it was R-O-M-E, and
Well,
I
most
thought
people would, because that's the expression, all roads lead to Rome.
right.
So-
So it's supposed to be
Yeah,
a
it was-
double entendre or whatever you call that. I don't know. If
I have
that's-
some of those later.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a beautiful song, man. It's beautiful. And like I said, it said Roads the Prophecy, and then, you know, it's that made me feel like, you know, you're a spiritual cat. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I'm not sure, because I haven't played it in a long time. When I recorded it, which was in 2001, the line, Abba, why did we ever leave? Abba is Hebrew for father. So
Okay.
we were in Israel, and he's like, why did you leave? You know, and it was like a long story, but which I'm not getting into. But, you know, I'd had that connection.
Right.
And so people say, oh, are you talking about the group from Sweden?
Listen,
No.
I swear, when you first said it up there, I'm like, ABBA? As in ABBA? And then I was like, it can't be.
No,
that.
it's
Like,
not.
I figured it wasn't. but-
I think when we were producing that
Right.
track, they said, you know, people are not going to think the group. I
Right.
said, well, you know, but it's kind of angry, you know. ABBA, why did we ever leave?
Yeah, right.
You know?
Well, that's why I said, like, my instinct was originally the group, but then I was like, it doesn't feel like it. That can't be
probably
that.
not
Yeah,
correct.
it can't be
Probably
that.
not the group.
I like to make people think.
Unless he
I
knew
love
him.
it. Yeah. Right. Wouldn't that be wild? He'll be like, then I went to Sweden.
Yeah, I did, briefly.
So, Baltimore, You Are My Harbor, you know, again, it's not my style. Like, it's not like I rock out to that
Right.
style of song, but I love good songs. And that song just blasted my head off because of a few things. One, the impetus for the show is our love for Baltimore and the arts and everything like that. I've been around Baltimore my whole life, and I don't know why I love it. Like, I can't articulate it.
Well,
Like,
my friend Bruce Fox, who you look like,
I love that.
used to call it Stalag Baltimore. It's a
That's
prison
funny.
camp.
Yeah,
Because you
Stalag
leave,
17.
he left, as I left 10 times, and it was something drags you back.
Right.
So how that started was 82, playing in New York, and a guy came over and said, you ever been to Baltimore? I said, no. Why? And he said, no, there's a place there that you'd be great at, and they need somebody. And I said, okay, it's the 13th floor at the Belvedere.
Oh,
wow.
shit. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So he set up a meeting with Lenny Kaplan, who ran it in the Owl Bar and John Eager
Yep,
Howard Room.
yep.
And I came in on a Sunday. People say, what brought you to Baltimore? I said, Amtrak. You know, it was like, I took the train. And I got in around 2, and I had no idea. So I could see the Belvedere. And I had a suit and a bag, and they had left luggage in those days. So I got a cab. I said, where's the harbor? Because I'd read about it. And he said, oh. So we started, and we stopped in Mount Vernon Place at a red light. I said, oh, this looks nice. It was $2, I think, on the meter. I give him $5. I said, I'll take a walk. Where's the harbor? He's straight down the hill. I
Right.
said, okay. So I wandered through Mount Vernon Place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, that's comes full circle
It's just, yeah.
to this
Just
conversation.
left that. And I walked down to the harbor, and I had lunch at the Hyatt. And I looked at the harbor, and it was like, it's a mall on the water.
Right.
Okay, big deal. It looked pretty then. It was
Right.
new-ish.
Yeah.
So I walked up Charles Street, and every store was open. It was great, vibrant, a beautiful bookstore. And I ended up at the Belvedere. And, I went to the train station, got my suit, and went to the dressing room, bathroom.
Right.
Here's a new nail. And so I did the audition. He said, can you start Wednesday? I was like, sure. So, and it was a 6-month contract. So then I'm here, and I start and make some friends. And it was weird because I don't know, I don't remember who was playing before, but it was like apparently a very lounge, lizardy.
Right.
Yeah.
So my opening song in those days was "Shiver Me Timbers" by Tom Waits.
Nice. So it was big.
So
You
it
were
was like-
swinging.
No, it was a ballad because
Oh, it's not swinging.
Yeah, it's like I'm leaving my family, leaving all my friends.
Tom Waits, not Tom. I thought you were talking about Tom
Jones?
Yeah,
No.
that's why you said that. I thought swinging, and then
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wait, Tom Waits is
Yeah, I
the
don't-
cat.
Well, the
Right,
idea
right,
was to
yeah.
see if people dug Tom Waits in those days, and it was a way of warming up the voice because it was not a big range.
Right.
So the room would switch. There were people at the back of the bar, and they'd all move forward. And I'd do like 4.5 hours.
Right. And this is at
just-
the 13th floor every
Piano.
week, every
4 nights a week.
4 nights a week
Damn.
for 6 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my later, now former wife, came down New Year's Eve, as you should, and we'd been together for quite some time, and I proposed, and we go out. There was a coffee shop next to where the beer stube, if you remember that, was.
No.
It was very nice. It's been demolished. But we went there. Then we got mugged at gunpoint. She
Baltimore,
never came
baby.
back. For 20 years, she never came back. But that didn't really put me off. if you
Right,
will.
right.
So, and about 2 or 3 months into that, everybody talked about the harbor. So the song came into mind. And everybody, it was like, hometown song. And I did record it at a studio on Maryland Avenue. And I had a cassette, because that was, And the radio station in Towson played it. Said, yeah, it sounded like Neil Diamond. I was like, no, it doesn't.
Right.
It definitely doesn't sound like
But it came out as a
Vibe, but
cassette
not sound. No.
at the same time as Randy Newman's Put Down to Baltimore. And that was more popular.
Right.
And then somebody said, people sometimes are embarrassed to hear good things about the hometown. I said, why? But, it was...
people, people.
It's
are
my
dumb.
homage to, and it's, it's true. And talking about Mariah, she feels the same way, and we recorded it together as a duet.
Yeah,
And
I
it
mean,
works.
that song just speaks to me, and it was right at the right time. Like I said, we started the show. We're trying to bring good vibes back to Baltimore, and I can't quite articulate, why I care so much. I just love this city.
It
And
has a
so
vibe that, it's very unique.
it is, and,
I've lived most of the time here. I lived in Mount Vernon. 1 year I did spend in Owings Mills.
hey,
I had a pool and a tennis court. and,
Nice.
But I had to move back because that sunset driving, whoa.
yeah, it's a bitch.
And I tried Fells Point or Canton Fells Point. But then I moved on and went to Vegas for 3 years. But which is where I found the perfect studio and perfect people to record with.
And what year was that when you went to Vegas?
That
Roughly?
was 99, 8.
And what, you got a gig in Vegas proper,
Yeah.
or
Oh, yeah. I'd been there before.
Right.
But
Like a residency?
no, here, there, everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was, I lined up a couple. Actually, the first thing I did when I got to Vegas was there was 2 guys from Baltimore, and they had a furniture store, but they opened a studio for voiceovers, and that's something I used to do.
huh?
So I got a call, and they said, and I it was the day after, so 10 o'clock in the morning, can you do this voiceover? I said, sure. And it was like my first gig.
But what is it, commercial?
Yeah,
or-
it was for, it was funny, it was for Cuir de Montreal, which is luggage.
Okay.
Cuir is French for leather.
Right.
So I said, well, does the client want Montreal or Montreal? He said, no idea.
He said, I don't know.
Well, they called the client, and he said, do both.
Right.
So, that's attention to detail. It's like, and they used the Montreal.
So let me ask
Cuir de Montreal.
you, did voiceover work. Is that just like commercials and stuff, or did you do TV shows, anything
Yeah.
like that, or
I've done
animation?
I
Cartoons.
got there was a woman, gotta think. It was a soap opera, Another World. and her name will come to me. So she wanted me as a piano accompanist. Come on. The Rolodex is going.
Yeah.
The actress from that show.
Yeah,
Not
Another
the
World.
famous. She had a recurring role.
I'm blanking on every soap opera star's name.
Well, I never watched the soap.
Neither did
life.
I, but I would still. They're still popular.
But
Popular names.
she wanted me to sing, to play for her, and I thought it was funny because I said this piano would sound better if you opened the lid, and they said, "Oh, you're right." So I went to lift it up. I said, "Oh no, it's a union job."
Ain't that
Really?
a bitch?
So you can't even lift up
The union guy was on a coffee break, and I had to wait 15 minutes.
Of course
for
he
them
was.
to lift the
The
lid.
girl's name, the Rolodex, Taro Mayer,
Okay.
fabulous singer. I don't know what her daughter was. Ari Mayer, who was
Okay.
in Kate and Alley, was the daughter.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
There's connections everywhere.
Yep.
But she, so we opened the lid. So I'm like, oh, great, I'm on television. That was the day the Pope got shot.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
So it was preempted.
Right.
And it was, remember I don't know if
He
you saw
stole your thunder.
Big Bang Theory when Penny's on television.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's lined up to watch her and it got cut or whatever.
Right.
It was like,
right.
whoa!
Right.
Yeah, that's a tough overshadow, is the Pope being shot.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I can't blame him. But
Right. What are you going to do about that one?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. So good stuff, Marcus. So the third song that you did was called, I think I'm right here, Waiting for Me, right? Now, you told a very cool story about your daughter, I believe, when we were standing out front smoking.
that was Remember My Eyes. So
Okay.
not this one.
Okay.
So this one has a story. We moved because now we got Courtney, my daughter, and then Matthew, my son, and we moved to Princeton.
Damn.
So Robin, my former,
Right. You're the former husband.
yeah, right. She got a job at Princeton Medical Center, and my son was born, and so I got to do a concert at MacArthur Hall at Princeton, and it's a beautiful concert hall, 9-foot Steinway. Wow! And I go in the afternoon, do sound checks and light checks, and I said, "Can I just stay here?
Right.
I just want to play this."
Right.
And the guy said, "No, I got to lock up." So this is the first real concert I'm doing. And I've done every restaurant in New York with a piano, but this is, we sold 350 tickets.
Right. This is big time, Princeton.
So all day I had this thing going through my head. I'm trying to focus on the evening. And he says, "Some women wait forever for the answer to it." And I'm like, "Go away," So anyway, did the show, and I'd written a song called 5-Step Tango, which was a very Leonard Cohenish, and they gave me a standing ovation. And they said, "Oh, this is great." That was the last song. I said, I don't know whether this is going to work, but I've had this thing recurring all day long in my head, and I'm going to share. You're going to watch a song being born, because I haven't played a note, I haven't written anything down. Does anybody, please God, have a tape recorder? So I go, I got a cassette player. I said, thank God. And I started playing it. And what you hear, except for a few gaps while I'm thinking of the next line, is exactly how it was written. So I believe that song was totally channeled because of the ending.
Wow.
It's got I used to say to people, for anybody here tonight who believes in reincarnation, it's nice to see you again.
That's awesome. That's
It was
great.
never
that
meant
was
as a joke, but it's
full
funny.
improvisation.
Yeah. Completely.
But based on something that
But
you heard in your head all day.
Yeah.
And
It just it was forcing its way into my attention. And it was like, okay, that's why I chose to play it here.
Right.
And again, it was the 2000s before it got recorded. But it was like, there it goes again. The reincarnation coming back.
Right. The loop,
Yeah. It never ends.
Yeah. Well, that, reincarnation is big in Hinduism and Buddhism and stuff like that. And,
But there's different levels of it. But my interpretation is not that I'm going to come back as something better or, God forbid, worse.
Sure.
It's just that we don't die.
Yeah, right.
We transition.
The energy thing makes sense. Like everything is energy.
Yeah, I think Einstein would probably be on board with
You're
it.
not. There's no consciousness. So there's no memories. I don't think. Or
Well, yeah. I mean,
depending on if you come back if you're reincarnated as a crocodile, like you're not going to know that you were a human at one point.
Exactly.
but that would be incredible.
But even if you are a
But
a
maybe
human again,
I also don't know.
Right? You
Like-
might have been a crocodile.
Right.
already.
But what you
Exactly.
brought up about my daughter is I recorded a song called "Remember My Eyes." Basically, it's a demo. This guy Jim Moranchik in New York, and we used for the intro. I'd met a guy had met me, and there was one place in New York I played called Les Tuileries, or in New York, the Tuileries. Hey, how you doing?
I love the New York way.
And I would end my second set with that song occasionally on a Sunday because it was more of a listening crowd. This guy said, "What is that song?" I'm outside having my cigarette, and the guy said, "What is that song?" I said, "Oh, I wrote it." Da, da, da. He said, "Oh, that song will make a movie. Here's my card." Da 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 da. So I said, "Well, I'm planning to try and record it soon." So called up Jim, who was a brilliant keyboard player, and the Alesis, and doing the techno stuff. It's the '80s, and he had a Yamaha DX7 keyboard, and there's all different effects, and one of them was a didgeridoo. So it's like, and then the chorus melody comes in. It's an overture. So anyway, 57 hours, 3 days were recorded. Take the cassette home, and my daughter's about 2, and a yenta, in a good way.
Right.
And I said, "This is what I've been doing for the last 3 days." She put the cassette in and didn't hear the first line and said, "Oh, this reminds me of where I was before I got here."
I love that. I mean,
And I'm like, "Whoa." Exactly, because the first line is, "We walked through the garden, you said, my love, I'm frightened."
right,
It's Adam and Eve.
right.
And she got it. She doesn't remember.
Yeah, but that's awesome. I mean, that's one of those,
Well, they say that kids do remember other realms.
Yeah, they
Which is the
channel.
best way,
They
I
can
do
channel.
love me a didgeridoo though.
Right, and the connection with the didgeridoo and the Aborigine spirit and
Yeah.
that whole thing is
Well,
awesome.
right now she's in New Zealand, so.
Oh, wow. Does she live there?
No, she's like me.
Just travels.
Yeah, with her brother.
Right.
They're both there. And yesterday took a ferry from the north to the South Island. They just wander around. She said, "Yeah, we inherited that gene from you, Dad." So.
They should stick around. They're gonna start filming The Hunt for Gollum there soon.
Is that
Well,
right?
Matthew-
Yeah, they are. I think they are
Yeah.
right now, right?
I think production starts like this month.
I was
or
going to say,
maybe
it's
next month,
either
yeah.
in it or coming very, very soon.
Well, Matthew, my son, has always wanted to go since Lord of the Rings.
Right,
So he might
sure.
be 10 or 12, I don't know. But it was like, I don't think he did, but I think when he got off the plane, he went from Dublin to Istanbul to Hong Kong, stayed 2 days, then Auckland. And I think he kissed the ground when he got off the plane.
I was going to say, that is a real long run, right? New Zealand and Australia. It's like you literally time travel. Or so it's
yeah.
like you're 24 hours
Well, they're
behind
18
or something
hours ahead,
crazy.
so this is Friday, so it's like Sunday morning or Saturday. I don't
Yeah.
know.
it's-
From Australia to New Zealand, is that much?
Well, I think
No,
New
from-
Zealand's right near Australia.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
going to...
Right.
It's a 5-hour flight because
I
he's going
gotcha.
to Melbourne next week.
From Australia to New Zealand is a 5-hour flight.
Yeah,
Wow, it's not as close as it.
I didn't think it was... Yeah, I didn't think it was 5 hours.
maybe
but,
4.
yeah, well, now I believe
But I have
you.
this flight tracker on my phone, so I watched. And Courtney went from Dulles to San Francisco and then nonstop San Francisco to Auckland, and I'm watching this vast gap of the
Yeah,
Pacific.
right.
She landed a half hour before Matthew.
Wow.
And he went the other, and they're going from different directions.
Wow.
It's great.
Crazy.
So
There's
just-
kinds of long plane rides. I've done California, but I don't know, man. Like,
Do they live in the States?
Yeah. Well, my daughter's in Virginia.
Okay.
And my son's in the Army, so he's wherever.
Good for him.
But he's based between Jersey and Dublin. So.
Nice.
But he just served in Africa for almost 10 months, so he's back. But,
well, that's good. That's got to make you happy. He's back.
Right.
You know.
But they're adventurous, and they should be. And it's the best time to. And at some point, Matthew, when they had the earthquake in New Zealand, he's by trade a carpenter, so he volunteered to help after the earthquake in Christchurch.
Nice.
And they wouldn't give him a visa for it because they had enough volunteers.
Right.
And they got to take care of him. So he said, "If I go, would you come?" I said, "Yeah, it'll take me a week." Because I go from the East Coast to California, stay overnight, go to Hawaii, stay overnight.
Right, take your time.
Fiji, then.
Right.
Claustrophobic.
Yeah.
But, 7, 8 hours to Europe, or 6 hours. Tailwind did it in 5.
Is that right? To Europe?
With a tailwind, yeah.
Wow.
Well, to London.
I don't know why I always felt like it was like 14 minimum or some shit.
It's not that far.
Damn.
Italy's about 9 miles, 9 hours, but I haven't been there. So.
Wow.
Well, I've been, but not on a plane.
Right. So your third, the Waiting, hold on, let me get the song titles. So Waiting for Me was the third song.
Yeah.
And then the fourth song you did was a Leonard Cohen song. Okay.
Which is awesome because
right. I mean, well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that was immediately the vibes I get when listening to you sing. I wrote down Leonard Cohen and Richard Thompson, both of them, because they're just storytellers.
Was
I
Richard Thompson Fairport Convention?
Say that again.
Wasn't Richard Thompson Fairport Convention?
Was he Fairport Convention?
No, it was in the band Fairport
Okay.
Convention.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I listen to his solo stuff. I mean, I haven't.
I go back a long way.
Yeah. I've discovered him fairly recently.
I have a feeling
he's been around forever.
Yeah.
But just his storytelling, and it just reminds me of that, and especially Leonard Cohen. That was a big, vibe I got.
The Leonard invaded so many thoughts as far as an inspiration. There was just certain words that he used that nobody seemed to have ever used before. It's constant comment tea, the tea that came all the way from China.
Right.
It was constant comment, apparently, But he's just was, if I had to admire somebody, and there would be a line in a song of his that would set off an inspiration.
Right.
There's a song I wrote. It's called "Smoky Music." And I heard a track called Smoky Life. And I was playing it virtually every day, every night in those days, and in New York. And, I'm at this bar, and there's people smoking cigarettes and cigars. And it's like, I like that smoky music and the smoky life I lead. And it was like, oh. So the kickoff was like, Smoky Life. So, yeah. I'm not stealing, but it was like, so that's why I said I owe a debt of inspiration.
Yeah.
Certain words just kick off an idea.
There's something
Smoky
now
music. I like that description.
Yeah, it's a
smoky music.
I recorded that as a live album there's a place in New York called Chelsea Place. It was 17th and 8th. It was the place in the 80s.
nice.
And it was crazy in a good way.
Right.
Well,
good.
maybe not so good in some ways. But I convinced the owner because we had some great talent in that room. And they just played and played. And I said, Giancarlo Santini was the owner, long gone. And he, after 7:30, he was completely wasted.
He was worthless.
But I got him at 6 o'clock and said, I'd love to do an album of these people, do it live. And, okay, how much is it going to cost me? And I did a budget, and he said, well, people keep telling me, but nobody follows through. I followed through. We had a big truck outside with the remote, and I recorded Smoky Music in one take because we're going over. And there's a line that in the original, which was "Son of a Bitch," and it was played on CBS radio in New York frequently.
Right.
And somebody complained. So, okay.
The FCC.
Now it doesn't matter. But
Right.
then, so I changed it to "Son of a Gun." But I also had Ann Hampton Calloway on the album, she played at the Tuileries, Tuileries, Wednesdays through Saturday, I think. And one of the guys, I didn't do it by myself, so I had Rob Roberts and Stephen Lucci, and we all chipped in together. It's a collaborative effort, and both of them have no idea where they are. But Steve said, a friend of mine wants you to put Ann Hampton Callaway on the album. I said, okay. Oh, who is she? Oh, I know her. Yeah. So she did an original song called New York City is a Walking Picture Show. It's a great song. So we do it. I mix it. I find I have an aptitude for mixing.
Nice.
And got the copies. It was a vinyl, a double album, 1,000 copies only. And so I got to know Anne, and then I worked at Tuileries because that's where she was, and somehow by being there I got into. And didn't see her forever until the Meyerhoff, about 5 years, no longer. Excuse the cold. It had to be 9 years ago. It was a Christmas time show, and I emailed her and I said, "Oh, you're going to be in Baltimore. Haven't seen you." So she sent me 2 tickets and great seats. And afterwards, she said, "I just realized you're the first person to record me," and
wow.
She's like a huge deal.
Right, right.
She's an amazing vocalist and jazz piano player.
You got in the early days.
That's wild.
So, but there are all these different people like you meet. I have my friend Bill said, do index cards because something pops in.
Right, right.
So I'm doing that, and he's like, doing the Spotify, not Spotify, Substack.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like making notes. It's like
you mentioned that before. Do you mean that you're writing your story on Substack?
Yeah, I have the
nice.
Yeah, you'll invite him also. You sent me the invite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm on it.
It's called Elements of a Life.
Mm-hmm.
So
nice.
I mentioned Bill Taylor and Mariah, and a couple of other people said, you've had such you should write about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Substack seems to be the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays.
Yeah, we'll put the links out there.
It definitely
It's
is.
called Elements of a Life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
it kind of begins in late life, but it goes back and forth.
Right, right.
But I had an index card, and it said, Close Encounters of the Famous Kind. So obviously first Jim Croce.
Right,
and then,
right.
But different people.
You had mentioned to me Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones or something like that.
Well, I spent a lot of time in Bermuda,
Right.
which I love. But, there are 2 things you never hear in Bermuda. We never say goodbye in Bermuda. It's always see you later, mate.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing you'll never hear is, ooh, that's cheap.
Right.
I went to the supermarket in Bermuda and bought whatever I needed for a week. Kept the receipt. I went to Whole Foods, bought exactly the same things, and then Safeway. So $195 in Bermuda, $130 at Whole Foods, and $93 at Safeway.
Safeway, baby. Yeah.
There's a plug, unintentionally.
Right.
But I just got in my Substack to the next chapter is Bermuda. But I was back and forth on the island, and Michael Douglas and his family, or his mother's family, her name was Diana Dill.
Mm-hmm.
So they go back 200 or 300 years in Bermuda, and so they have a piece of land called Aerial Sands, which is a resort bungalows. It's closed. I think they're renovating. But Diana Dill was getting married to a gentleman whose name I forget, and they wanted me to play the wedding. Not Michael and Catherine, but the owner of the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "You want to do that?" I said, "Sure." And it was just, I think it was like 27th of December.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, "Oh, why don't you stay through New Year's Eve?" I said, "Yeah, sure."
Right.
Yeah, it's good. And whatever year that was the year that Chicago came out.
Okay.
The movie.
Yeah.
And it hadn't come out yet.
Okay.
The movie or the play?
The movie.
Right. So it was
with
97
Catherine.
or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
So Richardson, who was, I forgot his first name, it was Bill Richardson, it was a producer. He was there with all these different people. And it was like, knowing that I'm going there and staying, I said, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool if I play a song from Chicago?"
Right.
Which
right.
I didn't have in my repertoire at the time. So I borrowed the sheet music. And So I'm doing, and Michael said, swing music. Everybody wants swing. So, and I had a saxophone player and a drummer, which was good because he could,
Right.
That's all he could play.
Right, swing.
But, the first set was an hour and he said, what about 40 on, 20 off? I said, don't do that. So they took a break, and so I started playing all that jazz. And the drummer came back, and Catherine walks in, like 4 months pregnant, and starts doing high kicks and took over. I didn't know what people sang in the movie because they hadn't come out, but it was her song. So Michael went, great,
That's
and
awesome.
She belted it. Oh, when I'm playing it, I had sight reading. I mean, I heard the song.
Right.
I turned 2 pages at once. Like, that's not right.
Yeah,
So you had set list discussions with Michael Douglas for his
No, just play swing stuff.
right, but
Yeah.
for his mother's wedding.
Yeah,
That's
all the
pretty,
guests afterwards.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then Catherine Zeta ended up doing her little routine
Yeah, it was
too.
amazing.
Yeah, that's
and it
amazing.
was so nice. And then New Year's Eve
That's
came
really
around,
cool.
and it was a mixture of. I had a percussionist. It was a Bermudian, but he lived in Brazil, and he got all these feathers, and it was great.
That's awesome.
That's
And-
weird. So Michael Douglas is Bermudian.
Well,
His
mother-
family goes
Yeah.
back 300 years in
Yeah.
Bermuda. That's
Yeah.
wild. I didn't know that.
yeah, and they had a house up on Belmont Road that they sold, but there's a long connection. He spent his childhood there, basically.
Okay.
And what a place to spend it.
Yeah, that's wild.
Bermuda is just.
I've never been. Have you?
Hell no. You know me. I mean, I would
You're
not because
afraid. You're afraid of vanishing.
Well, no. Well,
No,
no.
that was-
The triangle thing doesn't bother me anymore. No, it's more financial. I'm
Right.
just broke.
Yeah, well, they have I think 3 times a week,
Yeah.
direct flight from here, from Baltimore.
And
How-
cruises. You can go on a cruise too if you don't like flying.
How cruise?
What would you rather do?
Flying.
Fly or boat?
Yeah, Marcus, I'm a bit of a head case. You might realize traveling and
Don't
I
swim.
don't
That's
get
all.
along that much. But
Well, Bermuda, I mean, it's literally an hour and 45 minutes.
Right.
Wheels up, wheels down.
that's a wonderful.
Yeah.
Like Florida's 2 hours or an
Right,
hour and
that's
40
quicker.
minutes. or
Well, it's
something,
right
yeah.
off the coast of North
Right.
Carolina. And, I mean, it looks like a fish hook in the middle of... It was discovered, I'm not quite sure, 15-something by the Spanish on the galleons, and they sailed by it, and they threw some hogs ashore for future supplies. And I think maybe one guy went ashore, well, with the hogs, and
Right.
he carved his name in a rock, like Plymouth Rock, And then a few years later, there's a flotilla of ships coming from England to Jamestown to
Nice.
help with the settlement. And there was a hurricane, typical, and the Sea Venture got wrecked in Bermuda, and Alexander Battery is the place, and they waded ashore. Nobody lost their life. And there's bits of the ship, and they managed to rebuild it because the island was covered in cedar trees
Wow.
and lots of hogs. So nobody started lots of fish.
Right.
So, but they made it from Bermuda. Summers was the captain or admiral, and I think it was from Bermuda to Jamestown in 3.5 days.
Damn.
That's 500 miles with a tailwind.
Right.
But they saved
Damn.
Jamestown because they
Wow.
brought fish and hogs and.
Right. Wow. I never knew that.
Well, if you
So
go to
that's-
Jamestown,
yeah,
which you
that's
can go on the train, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
There's a whole wall that's dedicated to Bermuda.
Wow.
That's wild.
So-
The Spanish just dropped off a dude and hogs, and we're like, we'll be back.
Yeah, and
Well, that's good prep for future reference. If they're
Right.
running out of food, there'll be like there's an island in the.
well, nobody has seen it before.
Interesting.
It's tiny.
Right.
It's 21 miles long and a mile wide, and the water, so beautiful.
21 miles long and a mile wide.
Yeah, and 300 and plus islands.
Does it have a occupancy limit for tourists?
Right.
If every Bermudian who lives abroad went home, it would probably sink.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
There's a lot of
thought.
Bermudians go to Toronto
Right.
and Halifax and Canada and the Azores and whatever, but it's compact.
Yeah, that's
What
wild.
about
I've never
traffic?
been.
Do they have? Is it hell with
It's
traffic?
become hell.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael had a BMW. The speed limit's 25 miles an hour,
Oh wow.
which nobody seems to pay
I was gonna
attention
say,
to.
how do you
But
manage
he
that?
would take the Beamer to the airport just run it up and down the runway.
That's funny. Just to get it out of him.
Well, yeah, and clean the carbs or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, 21 miles, 21 by 1. Like how much real estate does just the airport take?
Yeah. It's got to be
wild.
Yeah, that's wild.
Well, that's built, I think, on somewhat landfill because during the World War II, the Army Corps of Engineers from the U.S. built the runway and stuff. And there was a funny story about Roosevelt had a house in Bermuda, and they built a lift for the wheelchair, and whoever owned the house, I can't remember, switched parties, became a Republican.
Oh, shit.
So he angled the runway that the planes took off right over the house.
Jesus.
True
That's
story.
some petty ass shit.
Yeah, and it's still there.
Wow.
That's
And,
funny.
But it's worth, if you can.
Yeah, man. I'm not against Bermuda. I just have never. I'm just.
Well,
laying.
I think it was Will Rogers said, "You can keep heaven. I've already found Bermuda."
Wow, that's a hell of an indictment.
Yeah,
That's good. stuff.
endorsement, not an
Endorsement.
indictment.
Right. I guess an indictment's more negative.
Yeah, but sorry to correct.
Hey.
But I was an English major.
Yeah, no, I love it. You're very
made
well traveled
Yeah,
in history. You're a history buff.
Yeah.
Or has that always been there, or is it just because you've been all around the world and picked up the story?
No, in school, I was good at history and geography, terrible at math.
Interesting.
Maths.
Yeah.
And art. I've seen paintings in a museum. I said, I got detention for that. And it was just like that.
That's so funny. And then how many languages do you speak?
English, French, and Hebrew.
Nice.
And I try and learn, if I go to a country, at least to say hello and thank you. But a little bit here and there.
I got you.
I spent two months in Japan and learned enough Japanese to get by.
So where's your favorite place in the world that you've been?
Can't tell you.
No?
My late wife asked me that same question, and I rolled it around in my head for an hour. I said, I can't answer that.
How about food?
Yeah, I'm getting
Same
hungry.
thing?
Like
Where's
culturally,
your favorite food
Depends
when
on-
you travel? Like there's somewhere like if you're going there, you're like, I can't wait to go there and
Well, I
eat
love
this.
sushi, sashimi, and Italian food, Chinese. It's what I'm in the mood for. But
Right.
I'm sort of narrowing the. So in Portugal, like a month ago, I found a restaurant I'd been to 5 years ago. I found my way there.
that's good.
The streets, and I had a fish. I don't know what kind of fish, but it was okay. It was like, okay. The previous meal I had 5 years ago was great. I have a picture of it, but in 5 years it went up by 50 cents. It's a price. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that's
You
not
don't have
bad.
a favorite place.
But I'll
'cause
try.
everywhere's different.
I'll try. I've had snake in
Right.
Cyprus. I had, my first time in Bermuda, I went out fishing with a chef from the restaurant I was singing at, and the rule was you ate what you caught.
Right.
So I'm going to catch a boot.
Right.
So I'll make it tasty. And I actually caught a moray eel.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
right in the middle of the Atlantic. I said, there's a snake on my line. I went,
Right.
oh, God, it's a moray. And slapped it behind the head. Head goes flying off. An hour later, touch is still going.
Wow.
And they were filming The Deep. the
Oh,
movie,
wow. With Jacqueline Bisset, Nick
And-
Nolte,
yeah.
Robert Shaw.
Oh,
At the time. And I was supposed to be in that. but
Are you shitting me? Wow.
As an extra.
Yeah, that's fun.
But
Peter
I worked 7 nights a week at the place I was singing in Bermuda. So the guy wouldn't give me the time off. But, yeah, it's fine. But Nick Nolte and Robert Shaw came into the restaurant occasionally. So I got to see them.
so the eel, did you eat it?
Yeah, it was delicious.
Really?
And I like the Japanese,
I like
eel.
unagi or
Yeah.
eel,
Yeah.
like sushi,
Fresh,
sashimi.
fresh eel.
When you were in Japan, you didn't go to Gyro sushi place, right? That there's some documentary I watched a couple years ago, and there's some famous place in Japan. The documentary is called Gyro Dreams of Sushi, And well, you ought to check it out. It's on Netflix or one of those. But it's some sushi place in Japan, and this guy's like a lifer. His whole family for years has done it. And it's like you can only get, it's a reservation. It's very exquisite. It's very expensive. But if you're a sushi guy who's a world traveler, watch Euro Dreams of Sushi and see if next time you're in there you go for it.
Yeah, I do want to back up just a second. You said Robert Shaw and Nick Nolte came into the place. Did you ever chat with them?
Of course.
How'd that go?
Great.
Because I read a story that they didn't necessarily get along on that production until they discovered their shared love of whiskey, and they would sneak off and get hammered during the production of the movie, and then they became friends.
Well, that's where they started drinking at the Rum Runners on Front Street in Bermuda.
That's incredible.
And they would have a few, and in those days, till probably about 4 years ago, I called it my voice trainer. It was Jack Daniels.
Right.
But I always knew how much I could drink.
Right. You had your game tight.
I got my limits, but I always got drunk before I reached it.
Right.
Right. That's exactly right.
So Shaw was a known hardcore drinker.
Well, one of the other hardcore drinkers was John Hurt.
Oh wow, yeah.
And we were buddies for a while. And
Now, was he wasn't in the deep, right?
No.
Well, how did you become buddies with John Hurt?
So after, we'll get to this in the Substack, but there was a little theatrical club in London called Macready's. So it was just for people in theater. And they had a key to get in. That's the only way we could get in.
That's
and John
exclusive.
Hurt he was broke. And I'd buy him beers.
Wow.
But he'd hang over the piano. And he'd done a little bit of television. And this is before Midnight Express, the Turkish prison.
Right, yeah. Oliver Stone's written.
But he would hang over. He said, I wish I could sing. And so fast forward about 4 years, I'm playing a place in New York in a hotel. And the bar was called Jonathan's. And this woman came in and says, "Oh, my friend John would absolutely love you." I said, "And who are you?" She said, "My name is Claire Rimmer." I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "I'm an actress, you know." I said, "I would change that last name if I were you."
Right, Rimmer.
Claire Rimmer.
So the night after, I'm playing, and Friday night was Xerox. They were down the street, their office, so it was happy hour Xerox. We call them Xeroids. And same game. So I'm playing whatever, and I hear this, "Bugger me, it's Marcus." And it's John Hurt.
That's incredible.
So he was in New York to promote The Elephant Man. So he had a limo 24/7 at his disposal. He said, "Well, you know this city. Take me to places." So one of the memorable places was the cookery in the village. And there was a great old lady, probably my age now, called Alberta Hunter. And she would have been a blues singer in the 20s.
Wow.
Left the business, became a nurse, and went back to it and packed the room every night. So John sat on the steps going down to the men's room in the basement or whatever and talked to her like 40. She said, "I really got to go back and sing, Mr. Hurt." He said, "Call me John." But he was fast. A lot of English people like the Yardbirds, the Stones, they were fascinated with the blues.
Right.
For some reason.
Right.
Not that he's bad. I mean, I got into that thing. But they... So John, we got in the limo, and he's like, "I need food." I do remember we went to it was a creperie place. He said, I got John Hurt in the car, and he's like really drunk, but he needs food. I don't care if he crawls in here on his hands and knees, he's welcome.
Nice.
So, but
I mean, that's amazing because he is the first person to be impregnated by a facehugger.
Right.
And you were friends with him during the Alien.
The Alien.
That's
right.
wild.
And we have
Not
Alien.
Alien.
This show has xenomorph alien roots here. Like he makes these things.
I make
so it's incredible.
reproduction.
The one behind you.
Well,
Yep.
these are the predator, and then I make xenomorphs and facehuggers, and I make all that stuff.
That's incredible.
Pretty cool, yeah. That's wild. John Hurt.
Yeah, that's a fun story. So, Mr. Marcus, your last song was called Grand Finale, right? And what's the story behind that song?
It was started here we go again with the travel. It was started, I was working in Lyon in France, in love again.
That's weird.
And I wrote that, and I could never get the verse the way I wanted it. I loved the chorus, and I loved the melody. And this is back in the 70s. It's like 79, I'm in Lyon. And I started writing that, and there was a line that I haven't used. It was like, I believe I'm at the crossroads of your interest now. It was like, but it doesn't fit. And he's like, well, it kept bugging me, but I remember. So I'm working with Mariah, and he said, I got this song. So I started rewriting the lyrics from her husband's point of view, like I'm Cyrano de Bergerac, writing love letters.
I love that, yeah.
So, and then Mariah says, well, I'm only 30, and I can't be singing grand finale. I says, no, it's not life grand finale. It's changing. You've been singing torch songs and ballads, and now you're happy.
Right.
So it's a new era.
Right.
But it got me working on it. And he's like, I got to finish this damn song. And I did.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I started tinkering with the ending. And I was going to do it today, but I'm just going to leave it as it is.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
It was going to be another reincarnation theme. It's like, enough already. And it's like, but you never know.
It's called grand finale, but it's not the end.
No,
right.
It never is.
The end is a new beginning, as Captain Cloud once said.
That's right.
It's a rare reference that no one gets except for Mike Citrullo.
Captain Cloud, yeah.
And you.
I haven't heard that
It's Get Crazy.
in quite a while.
Yeah. He always said Captain Cloud and the Rainbow Telegraph was the band, and their motto was, the end is always a new beginning.
That's right.
So I love that. Are you good? Or?
Yeah. So, I mean, you've talked about, a lot of
Stuff.
people that you've crossed paths with. I mean, is there anybody else? I mean, you've played with a lot of people, over the years, so...
Yeah.
Any other, kind of notables, I guess.
Well,
I guess
there was a
word.
place in Vegas, I think this Capozzoli's, no, that was in New York. This is basically, they had a great trio. And Tom Jones would come in. So it was just on a show at the MGM Grand. Everybody pays $300-400 for a ticket. And he's there till 6 o'clock in the morning singing for free.
That's incredible.
Wow.
The Tom Jones I originally thought you were talking about, right?
Just at a bar. Getting back to Bermuda, there was a bar there, which I think may still be there. It's called Robin Hood. They had a really good guitarist singing. And I'd go and listen and play darts in those days. Not anymore. But I'll look over. It's like, oh, Jerry Dorsey.
Oh, wow.
Engelbert Humperdinck.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, Jerry, how you doing? I said, good. Are you any good at this? I said, not really. I said, good. Let's play.
So that's wild.
Random. One night,
Right.
My mother would be enthralled by that. That's wonderful.
But there was, different people. And it's... there's a list, which I bring, but it's I am trying to you asked about date, which year, and it's kind of tough to go back and say, well, there were certain like milestones, like going to Bermuda,
right?
Then to New York, and then that was a 6-month contract, so I was supposed to go to a place called the Pink Beach Club, and getting a work permit was difficult. I said, oh, screw it, I'm in New York. Hell with Bermuda. I've done 6 months. But I always had a love affair with the island and stayed away for years, and then I went back. But so New York was like, okay, here we go.
Right.
First gig I got, you're talking about, I didn't meet, but names. There's a lady in Bermuda who was actually the first Jewish couple back in 1900, and Mrs. Maya Malloy, and very elegant, and I was invited to tea in the afternoon, and she had a maid and china cups.
Right.
And her daughter and her daughter's husband came in from Providence, Rhode Island, and then they came to the Rum Runners and hung out. said, well, if you ever want to come to Rhode Island. I said, oh. So they got me a gig at the end of my contract at a place called Salt's in Newport, Rhode Island. So I get there. It's 2 nights. I'm staying at their house. And the guy says, oh, I'm glad you're here. The guy who was here last week sounded like he gargled with rocks. So, who's that? I said, Tom Waits. Never heard of him.
Damn, you never heard of him at the time,
No,
I guess, right?
A beauty. But fast forward about 2 years, I'm playing different places in New York, and this wonderful singer called Laurie Beachman, late, unfortunately. Although, you know, I hate that expression. The late Laurie. She's not late. She's not going to show up anymore.
Right.
But she sang Shiver Me Timbers. Tom Waits on it. And I went to a piano. I said, I love that song. And he said, it was written by someone called Tom Waits. Said, get me a copy. I love it. I want to learn it. And I did, and he did. And about, I don't know, maybe 6 months later, my then wife is going to work, left the radio on at 8:30 in the morning. And Jersey Girl, Tom Waits, Heart Attack and Vine album on the radio. It's like, got no time for the Corner Boys, whatever it is.
Right.
And it's like, oh. And the DJ said, you know, Tom Waits' new album just came out. So I went down to the Village and bought the album. So that's Tom Waits. Oh, okay.
That's incredible.
Then I got into that because his early stuff particularly was great.
Yeah, it's writing. His writing and the way those songs are, it's Dylan, but even stripped down, if you can be more stripped down.
Well, Nighthawks at the Diner. And there's certainly 2 albums in my lifetime that if I had to do a top 10, these 2 is Nighthawks at the Diner and Graceland by Paul Simon.
Graceland was Simon, right.
And there's others, but I can't think of them.
Yeah, well, they're 2 good picks.
They always say that Heath Ledger based his Joker voice on Tom Waits.
Oh, yeah.
On his speaking voice, not necessarily.
If you ever
singing
hear
voice.
Tom Waits speak,
It sounds
it sounds
just
exactly
like
like
the Joker.
like it's. Yeah.
He's like,
I wanted to sound like Tom Waits
Yeah.
back in, because it took me 4 or 5 years to develop a voice that was mine. Because you pick different influences.
Yeah, right.
Right.
There was a guy called Bobby Cole who sounded like Tom Waits before Tom Waits.
Wow.
And a lady in New York has resurrected. He's been dead for a very long time. But this lady, Marie Hegeman in New York State, revived his memory. And there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. And there's always Bobby Cole, Sinatra's favorite saloon singer.
Oh, wow.
And that's what he was. And and he had this left hand on the piano that was so cool. And I tried to, and I couldn't quite nail it.
Right.
But he had this, I'm growing dimmer in the eyes, growing fainter in my talk.
Nice.
So, and Tom Waits copied me.
Does Waits acknowledge that? Like, is he influenced by it? No.
Probably never heard of him.
Yeah. Because that'd be cool if Tom Waits
Tom
was
was
like,
with-
I love Bobby, or, like.
Well, I think he was more California-based.
Right,
Than New
right.
York. And Bobby played every joint in New York. I could go on about Bobby Cole and stuff that he did that was just... there was one place that we played, and he had a trio. So, and he had a reputation. And his band was there. It was a Tuesday. And the place was called the Grand Finale.
There we go.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, how you doing, guys?
Right.
And his band said, where's Bobby? Where's Bobby? I said, oh, shit, he pulled out again. And he didn't show up. He showed up Friday. I said, where's my band? I said, they went home Tuesday.
He said, you gotta.
Well, it is Tuesday. I said, no, it's Friday, Bobby.
Wow.
Oh, okay. And that would happen. So I played his nights. And just like, quick. I have to say this because it was such a compliment. Sammy Kahn, the lyricist, is at the bar one night. And wherever I go, I want to play originals.
Right.
So, and he came over, he said, those last 4 songs, I never heard those before. And I said, I wrote those. He said, pretty damn good lyricist.
That's wonderful.
I'm like, Sammy Quanto. I said,
Right.
Yeah. And he said, yeah, it was good. And I saw him. I was going up the escalator at the Waldorf Astoria. He's coming down with Shirley MacLaine. And he said, that guy's a great lyricist.
Nice.
And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
But, these are little, you meet people.
Yeah. Well, if you, like I said, you're traveled the world enough and playing in general, if you're constantly playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm playing all the time and I constantly meet people not as cool as you, but if I was out in the world, it probably would,
People cross your path.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, your voice fits in perfectly with all those.
Yeah.
But it's your own. It's awesome.
Yeah, right.
I also pick, when I'm doing a gig, I pick songs that mean something to me. Because if it's something I can't believe in, I'm not going to sing it well.
Right.
So this is why for years I refused point blank to sing New York, New York. It's
Right.
like, Newark.
Right.
Oh, Newark, if you're from Delaware. But it doesn't, I love the city.
Right.
New York state of mind, however, yeah.
Right.
So
You got to have the fire for what you're doing, or else you can tell. Like the people
mail
can
it in.
tell. Yeah. You know.
and I learned something, or developed something early, which I still do, is to take a song and another song that from two different perspectives. So again, Tom Waits and Noel Coward. Noel Coward, the old queen of the English theatre, darling.
Right. I know that.
He wrote a song in Bermuda, and his last musical was called Sail Away. So it fits perfectly with Shiver Me Timbers.
Right.
And I have that on YouTube, which is like 3,000 hits. And so I did early days. I don't know if you read the latest, but there was this place in London called Bunge's Folk Cellar, and I played a 12-string guitar because they didn't have a piano.
Right.
And I've given up the guitar these days. But I put together this medley, and it was the longest finale. It was If You Go Away in French. That's No Way to Say Goodbye, Leonard Cohen. The Last Thing on My Mind by Tom Paxton. And back to the bridge in English of Ne me quitte pas, If You Go Away. And then back to the second verse of That's No Way to Say Goodbye. And second verse of
Gosh.
Last Thing on My And then just end it with Ne me quitte pas, ne me quitte pas. Salaud, ne me quitte pas. And that was, big dramatic ending.
Right.
But then, going through all these, I kept finding these songs that I would put together. And the first cabaret show I did, which I actually did in New York first, but Germano's, sadly gone, it's called Songs and Their Stories. Short stories, songs with a twist.
Nice.
So
That's a good concept.
So it was an hour, and all these different songs, like The Shadow of Your Smile, and I'll remember the shadow of your smile, though my heart is aching, I smile. And I would love to put things in the first person,
Right.
because it's really makes it more personal.
Right. It makes you feel.
And it's me, and it's telling a story that I can relate to.
That's a great concept. I mean, I love that.
I got that in film somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was one sort of, you wouldn't expect a song by John Lennon, Grow Old Along With Me. And that was, There's a Small Hotel with a Wishing Well, and I'll give to you. Another song you wouldn't expect. Cole Porter was very clever with lyrics. And it's simple, I'll give to you and you give to me true love. And then Grow Old along with me.
Yeah, you were ahead of your time with these concepts, kind of,
Well,
because
I'm still doing it.
people do that now, but it's mashups more rather than.
Well, that's what the phrase came, was like,
Yeah.
don't ever call this a
I know. That's what I mean. It's
Right.
like you were ahead of your time, baby. Like, that's good shit.
Yeah, and it's, but it extends the storyline. and
Right.
it changes occasionally the entire concept.
And if you're a pianist, if you will, it
said that
feels. Thank you. It feels intimate or something,
Oh, yeah.
more intimate if you get
Well, that's where
deep like that.
That's what I like of the choices of places that I play.
Yeah.
And I've done big places, but even MacArthur Theater, it was intimate.
Right.
Because the acoustics are fabulous. But it's like I'm not going to do an arena or
Right.
the Oriole Stadium because I'm totally lost.
Right. Although I would pay to see that, just for the record. So, Mr. Marcus, we like to wrap up the interview by asking a question. If Marcus, your life, if you actually Dan, hold on real quick.
Desert Island because
Dan
of
from Dan Wallace, our friend Dan Wallace, hit me up on email and was like, "I don't like the prison thing."
Yeah, sure.
And
that's because the
and
lawyer.
I said,
the lawyer
"I-"
brought it up,
and he said that the reason why is because he feels that it puts stakes on the question. I can't remember why, but it made sense.
I agree with him.
Yeah,
wrote and
it
said
made
it too.
sense.
He said I wouldn't do that.
So if you had
Desert
to pick
Island, that's the most
if you were on
common
a
thing.
desert island and you had to pick 3 films or TV shows
To take with you.
to take with you, just 3 to 5, what would they be, Marcus Dagan?
Would I have electricity to plug the damn thing in?
All that's irrelevant.
it's
Marcus,
the only
don't
thing,
get
you have
don't get into the
you
details.
have a TV, you have unlimited electricity for this particular.
Right. Don't get into
thing.
the details.
My favorite movie of all time
Perfect.
was Dr. Zhivago.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Well, again, so
Anything, well, I would need a laughs of Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
nice,
Okay.
nice.
And
Dr. Zhivago. That's a
I'm
rare one.
fascinated by that movie. It's beautiful.
Omar Sharif, right?
And Julie Christie.
Right.
And
The Jewel of the Nile.
I'm trying to think. I was just
And
up
Lawrence of Arabia.
in Jersey. I liked National Treasure.
Oh.
When
Yeah. Nicholas
Nicolas
Cage.
Cage.
John Boyd.
because
Yeah.
of the scenes and the way they filmed it in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I mean, I like Philly.
Yeah.
I did live there for a while, but it's just seeing that and the concept.
I loved National Treasure.
I like all of them.
Yeah, the second one was good.
Yeah, I have both of them, but because I want something familiar. So looking at and downtown Philly, let's face it, it's gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And but what was the other question?
Well, it's just with 3 to 5
No, that was great.
movies or TVs. and if you-
Zhivago,
yeah.
Blazing Saddles,
TV,
National
I don't watch
Treasure.
that
That's
much,
good.
but if they could stream in Jeopardy, that would be great.
Yeah.
In Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Jeopardy.
Like Jeopardy of Ken Jennings
Yes.
and Alex Trebek.
I try and watch that.
Me too. I'm a
And I
nightly
like-
Jeopardy.
Yeah, and I love do crosswords.
Nice.
At a certain age, you start thinking, I want to keep this.
Right.
Right.
And a challenge for the brain. And it's like, before we started, there was a little melody coming into play, and it's like, later But I need usually a line as a title or a line I'll use in a song to get that melody started. And there's probably 30 songs that were lost to the air because I had an idea, and my cousin Lonnie, who lives in Atlanta, she would sit there at this place in New York at Good Times with napkins and say, Lonnie, pen.
That's nice.
And she's still got them.
That's fun.
But she, there was an idea would pop into my head. And I said, let me see if I can put some music to that. And I would. And they would say, that's crap. Yeah. But
So on this
just keep
desert
it-
island, you would have those films and a notebook or something that you could write
Crossword
your,
puzzle,
or crossword puzzle.
or Jeopardy,
Right.
but episodes you've never seen.
Yeah, but I would also, if I could, I'd sneak in a book this thick of crosswords
Nice.
without the answers at the back.
Yeah, the challenge is the fun.
God, Jeopardy and crossword puzzles make me dumb. they make me feel dumb.
Well, if you did them all the time, you would.
Yeah.
I could
feel
do like the celebrity crossword puzzles in the back of like People or Us or something, or any of those
Celebrity
celebrity
cross-
magazine.
Right.
But they, it's just, and I read too, and I'm sure as soon as I leave, I'll think of another movie.
Hey,
or
it's all right,
something.
man. You really did great.
But I would have those 2 albums I mentioned.
Nice. Right.
if I could sneak in a CD player.
Which we would let you.
But, that and something by Leonard,
Yeah.
Actually, at home, I have the entire collection of everything
I'll
he
bet.
recorded.
Yeah, I love Leonard Cohen.
I was going to say, I was introduced to Leonard Cohen from Pump Up the Volume.
Right, me too.
And then my second introduction was Natural Born Killers, Waiting on the Miracle.
Right.
What a great song that is.
Yeah.
So underplayed.
It is underplayed.
Waiting for the miracle.
Yeah, man.
That was a later album that was good.
Yeah.
It was The Future, I think
Yeah.
it was that album, which I love that song, The Future. It's very dark, but I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
That's on that soundtrack also.
Yes.
I think. Yeah. Those two songs.
There was one album in the middle that was John co-writer who produced him. And he's got, was during his Mount Baldy is, but there's a song, I Came So Far for Beauty.
I don't think I know it.
Check
I'll
it out.
check it
It's
out.
great.
Yeah, I'm a Cohen head. I love it.
Yeah. Did you ever get to see him live?
Yes, I did twice.
Okay, awesome.
Once at Merriweather Post,
Nice.
pouring rain in May,
Damn.
50 degrees.
Damn.
My son was leaving the day after for his extended life in Ireland, and that was his parting gift. And Leonard wore a scarf and a hat the entire show, and it poured with rain.
50 degrees May. That sucks.
And the mound at Merriweather, it was just a forest of umbrellas. Nobody left.
Right.
Right.
And I saw him again, thanks to my son, in Dublin.
Oh, wow.
And it looked like it was going to rain, but it never did.
Nice.
And Leonard had, I'm trying to remember exact, it doesn't have to be exact, but he had something like 8,000 people at this outdoor concert in Dublin. And Lady Gaga was at the O Arena in Dublin the same night, and she got 3,000 people.
Damn.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Wow.
But Cohen, was great, and Sharon Robinson, who was his co-writer in the later years, and she's just amazing. But I had to leave partway through because I was staying outside of Dublin, and the last train.
Right, you'd have never made it.
Yeah, I had to take a cab for $400 to
Good. Ow.
probably, but it was it was. Thank God.
Yeah,
I
thank
gotta
God.
see-
Because if he passes and you never saw him, that would be a damn shame.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Marcus, this has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
And-
Is
I
there
hope it was interesting.
No, it is. I got one last
No,
question.
it's great.
Is there any
Yeah.
current music that you're like really into?
That's a
Like
good
maybe
question.
like a guilty pleasure, like just something current,
I can't think of names
right?
because I rarely listen to the radio. Something has to come on. There was sometimes on YouTube I'll see something.
Right.
I don't get some of it.
Right.
Yeah,
But you do feel something for some of it.
Yeah, and I literally cannot think of a name right now
Right.
because I've been drinking all that water. We need,
Well,
to,
that's
take
all
a,
right.
we need to take a bathroom break.
But me too. That's why
it's
I'm
all
getting
good.
ready to wrap it up.
We can we'll circle back to it. You can if you
What do you think
you can
is-
text me and I'll
Yeah.
put it in the
Yeah, I'll think of
notes.
it before I leave.
But at
like
least you're
my
listening.
example, like mine is right now is Haley Williams. She's the lead singer of Paramore. Paramore
Oh,
opened
yeah.
up for Taylor Swift on the European tour.
I got
Like she's a great vocalist.
Well, look, Mr. Marcus, you're a man of many talents. You're a world traveler. You've lived a great life, and
It ain't over yet.
it's
Yeah.
not over yet. And I appreciate you, man.
And I got
know.
to say, current singers, say Mariah. I love working
Right,
with her.
Mariah Bonner. Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
She'll be in next month. She'll
Yeah.
be in here, and you'll be with her.
That's right.
Yeah, man. It's
So-
gonna be
forward
good
to that.
stuff.
There's a couple of shows of note. Sweet Lita with Ricky Wise is going to be at Racers March 7th, and there is a show on March 8th. You know about this show?
Look, I'm sitting here going, I play on March
So why don't you tell us
March 8th.
what March 8th is?
The Auto Bar, Gravediggers Biscuits vinyl album release.
A nice Sunday show.
It's a Sunday evening, and we've got two DC Discord bands coming to open with us, Diamine and Bedmaker. and we're going to headline, and I really hope people come and buy the vinyl and tell your friends about Gravedigger's Biscuits.
What a great name.
Much in the same genre of music as Mr. Marcus here. It's
a great band. Their front man. The music has some Frank Zappa vibes to it,
right?
Which you wouldn't expect.
Right.
It to have,
right?
But it does.
It's very unique stuff. But anyway, yes,
they're
March
our
8th.
Current episode right now. If you go to our YouTube channel, and
I will.
Yeah,
Gravedigger's
drumming
Biscuits
on
is the current episode.
It's a wild band. But look, we appreciate you, sir.
I appreciate you, and
Mr.
thanks
Bill.
for the
Nice
invite.
meeting you. Yep. All right, stay sane, Baltimore. We're out.
Awesome.
Well, this is the first song I ever wrote, and it's called Roads, the Prophecy, and it did come true. When I was a child, all I wanted was to travel every new road that I saw, to venture in the wild, find a mystery to unravel, and to learn what my life was for. They say every road you travel on will lead you on to Rome, but the road I know the best of all has always led me on home, wherever that might be. I became a traveler, always trying to find the truth, had only a suitcase to hold. I became a loner, never even had a roof to protect me from the cold. And they say every road you travel on will lead you on to Rome, but the road I know the best of all has always led me on home. La, da, 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 da. I'm tired of traveling, gonna turn my footsteps round, find the friends I used to know. Hope there's someone waiting just to ask me what I found since I left so long ago. They say every road you travel on will lead you on to Rome, but the road I know the best of all has always led me on home. Abba, why did we ever leave? They say every road you travel on will lead you on to Rome, but the road I know the best of all has always led me on home. La da 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 da. This is my homage to the city of Baltimore, which I discovered back in '82, and this song came out of a love for this city. the cobblestones of Amsterdam, distance of Japan, then back to the boulevards of Paris. So many places and faces I have kissed. I was looking for a place to heal. I was looking for a place to feel. I belong for more than just a song. Baltimore, you are the harbor that my soul was searching for. Baltimore, you are the shelter I never thought I'd find. I found you, sweet Baltimore. I found you just in time. When I'm carried away by my music, an echo of your charm stays with me until I'm back again with your famous stones. It's been the love of the people here that kept me warm. While I was looking for a place to heal, I was looking for a place to feel. I belong for more than just a song. Baltimore, you are the harbor that my soul was searching for. And Baltimore, you are the shelter I never thought I'd find. I found you, sweet Baltimore. I found you just in time. Baltimore, you are the harbor that my soul was searching for. And Baltimore, you are the shelter I never thought I'd find. I found you, sweet Baltimore. I found you, and now I call you home. Yes, I call you home. Some women wait forever for the answer to a dream. Some women never understand what it's all supposed to mean. Some women wait for saints to free them from this life, while others wait for trains as the lovers wave goodbye. And all of the women that I have loved have always been waiting for me. Some men wait for war, to be a hero in your eyes, They take the glory and the medals to the earth when they die. Some men wait for angels on the street corners of their mind. They don't know how to treat a lady, and those angels make them blind. And all of the men that I have loved have always been waiting for me. Some children wait for fathers who went off to the war. Who has the courage to tell them Daddy's not coming home anymore? Some orphans wait for parents to take them from the street. All these children want or ask for is a safe place to sleep. And all of the children that I have loved have always been waiting for me. All of these souls, these spirits that I have won, it all comes down to knowing exactly why I was born. It's all there behind my eyes. It's all here inside my heart. When this journey's finally over, I'll be granted a brand new start. And all of the lives that I have lived have always been waiting for me. All of the lives that I have lived have always been waiting for me. I owe a great debt of inspiration to the wonderful Leonard Cohen. And I've probably sang this song more than any other song throughout this career. It's about a lady who lived in Montreal. And according to the legend, the lady's hospitality was immaculate. Suzanne takes you down to a place by the river. You can hear the boats that go by. You may spend the night beside her, and you know that she's half crazy, but that's why you want to be there. And she feeds you tea and oranges, coming all the way from China. And just when you mean to tell her that you have no love to give her, she will get you on her wavelength, and she'll let the river answer that you've always been a lover. You want to travel with her, you want to travel blind, or you think maybe you'll trust her, 'cause she touched your perfect body with her mind. And Jesus was a sailor
when he walked upon the water, and he spent a long time watching from his lonely wooden tower. And when he knew for certain only drowning men could see him, he said, all men, they are sailors then, until the sea shall free them all. But he himself was broken long before the skies would open. Forsaken, almost human, he sank beneath your wisdom like a stone. You want to travel with him, or you want to travel blind, or you think maybe you'll trust him, 'cause he touched your perfect body with his mind. Suzanne takes your hand and she leads you to the harbor. She's wearing rags and feathers from Salvation Army counters, and the sun pours down like honey on Our Lady of the River. And she shows you where to look among all the garbage and the flowers. There are heroes in the seaweed, there are children in the morning, and they're leaning out for love, and they will lean that way forever, while Suzanne holds a mirror. She wants to travel with you, she wants to travel blind, or she thinks maybe she'll trust you, 'cause you touched her perfect body with your mind. La da 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 da. Suzanne. Suzanne? Tuning up, getting ready, putting on my uniform to face you all again tonight. And it gets harder every single time to remember the pain that caused me to write those lonely rhymes. I sang the blues, you sang them too. We've all been wounded by old lovers that we knew. Stand, it's a grand finale. I'm not singing the lonesome songs anymore. Stand, it's my new beginning. Finally found a woman to take me home and love me back to normal after the show. I'm on this stage alone with you. I sing the words woven in my soul. You see me here, secrets revealed, lyrics and music acting as my shield. I share my tales, you understand, sublime communion between me and you. Stand, it's a grand finale. I'm not singing the lonesome songs anymore. Stand, it's my new beginning. Finally found a woman to take me home and love me back to normal after the show. Life has changed almost overnight. I'm no longer afraid to feel. This woman came, she touched my soul, took me from darkness and filled my life with light. She saw my tears, those lovesick fears. I stand before her now, a man who is at peace. Stand, it's a grand finale. I'm not singing the lonesome songs anymore. Stand, it's my new beginning. Finally found a woman to take me home and love me back to normal after the show.
Thanks for listening, Baltimore. You can find us at www.sanitylounge.com or on Instagram at sanity.lounge.
Keep listening and subscribe.
Stay sane, Baltimore.